What's poppin', savvy investors? It's your Savvy Investor Dex here, back with another banger. And in this video, we're gonna discuss how I paid a mentor $40,000 to teach me everything he knows about the real estate game. In this video, we're gonna talk about the pros, the cons, the ups, the downs, the returns that I've seen from this investment that I made about 2 years ago. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So guys, what did $40,000 get me with a mentor in real estate? I'm gonna get right to it. I think the most broad question to answer is, would I do it again knowing what I know today? And the answer is 100% yes, I would. No doubt about it. Actually, I would probably pay 50 grand knowing what I know now. This is not a video to entice anyone to go out here and pay a mentor $40, $50, $60, $70,000 because there's a lot of fakey fakes out there. A lot of fakey fakes. This is a video more so showing you guys how to vet possible mentors, right? You want to know how to vet the people that you're dealing with. Now keep in mind, when I got this mentor, I'm telling you about vetting them, right? But when I got this mentor, I was probably 4 months into real estate, maybe. Yep, about 4 months into real estate. I wasn't doing it for a very long time when I got this guy. So, tell you a quick story time on how I met this guy. So I get into real estate, start learning all the tips and tricks on finding people and skip tracing and all that good stuff, right? So I go to a property and I noticed that a guy named George owns the property, right? I look up the guy's first name and it's the exact same guy that lives on my street, right? So I'm like, hey, Mr. George, I see you own like 9 properties on this street. Like, man, I'm getting into real estate, trying to get, I'm trying to get a couple of deals wholesaling, learn the ropes, blase, 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 right? Mr. George tells me, hey man, I'm rough, I'm pretty much out of the game. But there's somebody I can introduce you to that knows way more than I know. He's a bit of a shark, but in a good way. Those were his exact words, right? So he gives me the guy's number, call the guy. This is my current mentor, right? How y'all doing? Gives me the guy's number. I call the guy. He comes to meet me, and we talk a bit, tells me a little about what he do, how long he been in the business. And this is way before he told me about the price, about the mentorship or anything. He just telling me a little bit about him, right? He comes to my house, probably 2-3 days. We have a quick meeting outside, chatting up. He meets me, telling him what I'm doing, telling him what I've learned. He's telling me a little bit about what he's did, and he starts showing me deals. He starts showing me some of his rent-to-own clients, some of the monthly payments that they have. He starts telling me a little bit more in depth about deals that he's doing. From the point that I met him to the point where I actually started paying him the 40 grand, he helped me on a lot of deals. I'm not gonna say a lot of deals. He helped me on, he gave me a lot of pointers, right? He gave me a lot of pointers that wasn't on the internet, ways to find buyers, just kind of the typical stuff that we all ask when we first get into this business. It's pretty hard to ask good questions when you've only been around 3-4 months. So I asked the questions that I had, and he pretty much gave me I would say solid answers. Now I'm not gonna say he gave me all of the juice, clearly he didn't, but he gave me solid answers for what I asked. He was very knowledgeable. He had proof of what he did. Other people knew of him around the city in regards to real estate. He wasn't a fakey. And we got down to how much does it cost? Okay, man, I'm pretty convinced on what you're doing. I think you're somebody that can help me get where I want to be. How much would something like this run me? Then he drops it on me. 40,000. I'm like, 40,000? In my mind, like 40,000? Like, bro, like where am I gonna get $40,000 from? Mind you, at the time, my girlfriend was Prego. We were expecting our first boy. He's here now, obviously. He's about 2 years old. What's up, Carter? That's my son. But she's about 4 months, 5 months, 6 months pregnant at the time. We had just moved to New Orleans. Well, I moved back. This was her first time living here. Just got a rental spot. I had just closed my restaurant. This is right like when COVID hit. So I done closed my restaurant. I have vending machine business. I know nothing about real estate. And I meet this guy. He tells me 40 grand for a mentorship. I had a little part-time job. Quit the job, came home early one day. My girlfriend's on the couch, you know, big and round. And she's like, what are you doing home so early? And yeah, I just told her. I was like, I quit my job. I'm going to pursue real estate full time. That's pretty much it. And I went and got on the computer. So I had all of this stuff going on, right? Kid on the way, just moved. Oh, mind you, my car had gotten stolen. Probably, I don't know, 3 weeks before that, my car got stolen. So it was just a lot going on at this point in my life. Fast forward to meeting a mentor. He telling me what he can offer, telling me the value that he provides. Now we get down to, okay, how do I pay? So he tells me, hey, we could do payment plan style. What can you afford to put down? And you can just give me half of whatever deals that you do. As I teach you, the deals that I teach you, you give me half of those deals. And when we get to the 40,000, you're done, and I'll be a, you know, lifetime coach. So I got my first deal. I made 35 grand. When I got the 35 grand, I paid my mentor $5,000 down, right? $5,000 down. When I paid him the $5,000, the very first thing he taught me was the surplus funds business. That's why I have so much knowledge on the surplus funds business. I learned it from what a lot of us would call a dinosaur today in regards to how long he's been in the business. He was doing surplus funds 20 years ago. So you could imagine it was way less competition. It was obviously way less technology. We didn't have the avenues we have to find people to get deals done like that. So he taught me a really organic way that works in any city. Anywhere I live, it'll work. Anywhere. You know, it doesn't matter the laws, it doesn't matter any of that. Most of the information is public record anyway. So the first thing he taught me, I was able to go out there and make a return on my money. I made $14,000 from my first deal, and it took me about 60 days. Gave him half of that, 7 grand. My next deal, 30 grand, and I gave him half of that. My next deal, I made 20 grand, he got half of that. I think the final deal I did when I paid him, I actually made about 40, no, actually, no, I'm sorry. I did another deal and I made about 42 grand, and I gave him 20, and at that point I owed him like 10 more thousand. I may have gotten the deals messed up, the math a little wrong, but the last deal I paid him was the last 10,000, and that was about 9 months ago. So it took me a little bit over a year to pay him the 40 grand. And that was just, literally, just with the first set of information he taught me from the $5,000 initial investment. I was able to learn that business and pay him off within about a year. We'll say a year and, well, let's just say 13 months maybe. Maybe it was something like that, right? So in regards to do I think the investment was worth it? Most definitely. What have I made since that initial investment? Within those 2 years, I've made roughly 250 grand. So I've more than tripled the money that I put in, and that's just off the mostly the surplus funds business. You know, and that's not like, you know, a super home run, but that was more money than I had ever made in my life, right? So that kick-started the guy you know today, the Savvy Investor. That came from my mentor. So when y'all hear me on here, y'all checking out my videos, understand I'm not shooting from the hip when I tell y'all stuff. I'm telling y'all stuff that I've actually paid and got information from a very credible source that does this full time. And when I tell you, since then, I've learned everything from surplus funds business, creative financing, buying non-performing loans, how to evaluate a note portfolio, asset protection, clearly asset recovery. I mean, it's just been, to be honest, like it's been an endless amount of stuff that he just pours into me. It was the best 40 grand ever. No college in America could have gave me an education that he gave me for 40 grand and allowed me to see a return in such, I'm not gonna say allowed, gave me enough information to see a return in such a short period of time. So guys, that 40 grand was definitely well worth it in my opinion. I appreciate y'all for checking out this video. If you got any questions about it, hop down below. I'll answer any questions I can. If you have possible mentors that you're vetting, maybe we can hop on a quick phone call. I can give you some questions to ask them. Yeah, anyway, something like that. Just be careful before you go spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, even $10,000 on a mentorship. Was mine worth it? Yes. Do I think a lot of guys out there are worth it? No. Did I get lucky? A little bit. Did I bet them properly? Yes. Appreciate y'all for checking it out. It's your Savvy Investor Dex, and we out this thing.